best car, SUV, or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low overhead country.
Speaking of low overhead country, I have the privilege of introducing to you the owner of that fine establishment, who has joined us here live in the studio here at News Talk 1370 WCOA, ready, willing, and more than able to take a phone inquiry from you. If you want to get a price of a car, truck, or SUV you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in, 4783 116-478-3116. He, Iven Streckel, will be with us for the remainder of this show. It's the Frontier Motor Show here at Talk at 10. Good morning, sir.
Hey, Don. Thanks so much for the introduction. And this is the Frontier Motor Show. Like, sometimes your car expires before you thought it would. One of my friends' BMW, the transmission just blew up on it last week, and it cost $5,000 to fix his transmission. While the car is about 15 years old, it's not worth $5,000. So now he's forced into the car market. But while he was driving it, he said, I'm going to drive this car forever. Now, I don't know what forever is. Forever is until the value of the vehicle is so low that the repair costs exceed the value. If he had $5,000 to invest in his car, he'd be better off using that $5,000 as a down payment and his trade-in towards the purchase of a new car and start over, because the rest of his parts still are 15 years old. You know, people say, well, I got a new engine in my car. Okay, so the engine is one feature of the car. What about the other 20,000 parts that are in the car that are aged, that are 15 years old, that might need to have replacement soon? And that's why people sometimes are forced into the car market, and that's why we do this advertisement show, to let the people in Pensacola know that there's a dealership to go to when they are in the market for some free advice. And free advice might be something as simple as, if you're going to buy a brand new car, what would your car be worth? If you're going to buy a brand new car, Consumers Reports says that you can buy an invoice from them for $14. Well, Frontier Motors, I've got the new car cost guides right here, and it tells me the retail price and the dealer invoice of every car. So what I can help you with is finding out what a particular car costs the dealer. And if you know what it costs the dealership, it takes a lot of anxiety out if you know you're getting a good deal. So if you know the dealer paid $22,500 for a particular car, and let's say they sell it for $500 or $600 over that, well, that's a pretty good deal for you. But you also want to make sure that you get the proper dollar amount for your trade-in. I always urge everybody to kind of split that up a little bit, get the best possible deal on the new car you're buying if you're going to buy brand new, and then get a good appraisal on your trade-in on a separate piece of paper. And the way you do that first is you stop at Frontier Motors and you get a free appraisal. Now, that appraisal could be a real value that I would buy the car for. Let's say you got a weird car that I might not be interested in, or maybe I've got 7 or 8 of the cars already on the lot. I can still tell you what your car should be appraised for, and also how I got that figure, because we don't want to just throw out a number and screw up the deal that you're trying to get. So what we're going to do is tell you that if I'm interested in the vehicle, here's what I'll write the check for. And a lot of times what I'll do for customers also, I'll give them a consignment value. If you're in a position where you can be without your car, I can consign the car. What that means is you drop the car off and I sell it for you. I do all the work. I do all the advertising. I can get the car detailed. I can get the car repaired if you have some issues that have to be fixed first before we sell it. And then I can take a trade-in, which you're not going to want to do. I can offer financing. I can offer an extended warranty. I can offer certification for the vehicle. So there's a lot of things I can do for you that you're not going to be able to do as a private individual if you've decided to retail your car and you're thinking, well, should I put it on Auto Trader? Should I put it on Craigslist? Should I put it on eBay? You don't do any of those. You bring it to Frontier Motors and we'll advertise the car for you. I'll normally give you between $1,000 and $1,500 more on consignment than what my buy bid would be, because I don't have to tie up my cash. So it's a really good way for me to get 2 cars, because I can use my money and buy a separate car, and then I can have your car on the lot and sell that car for you. But these are things that I'm talking about for you, that when you're in the market for a car, that we can help you to make sure that you will get a good deal. Now, the other thing that I want to let people know is that Frontier Motors is here to save you a bunch of money over a brand new one. So if you have the money to be able to buy a brand new car, and I'll tell you, I get sticker shock when I go and look at new car dealerships. And about a month ago, I took my bike over to Car City on Sunday. And I went to every single dealership in Car City. It took me about 2 hours, drove around, and I looked at the window stickers, and I got sticker shock. I looked at some of these cars. I saw a multitude of pickup trucks that were in the $80,000 to $85,000 range. Matter of fact, Automotive News just had an article in last week's edition that said next year they're going to have an F-450 pickup truck that's going to be over $100,000. The window sticker will be over $100,000. I saw an Escalade at the Cadillac dealership that was $100,200. I know Escalades are expensive. That's a Cadillac, if you don't know. That's their SUV. I know they're expensive. I was thinking they're going to be in about the $80,000 to $85,000 price range. So I was somewhat shocked when I saw a $100,000 Escalade. I'm just like, holy mackerel. That is just a lot of money. And when you have a four-door sedan that is $38,000, $39,000, and last year Consumer Reports said that the average new car sold, in fact, I have it right here, the average new car sold was $35,000 last year. And that's the transaction price. That's not the list price. That's the price after discounts, after rebates. So the average price of a car last year, brand new, could have been $40,000, but the figure that you got after the rebates and incentives was $35,000, about $500. And Consumer Reports finally put into writing what I've been talking about for the last 21 years, and that is that you lose a bunch of money in the first year. And they came up with a figure, which I was happy to see that they actually did this. Instead of just saying that you lose a lot of money, they said that you lose 27% in the first year. That's $9,200 in the first year that you lose when you drive off the lot. So if you bought a brand new car today, let's say you went to Car City or down on Navy Boulevard, you said, I'm going to buy a brand new car. I can afford it, or at least you think you can afford it. So you went out and buy that $35,000 car. And a year later, you said, man, these payments are killing me. Or the gas mileage is killing me. Or I shouldn't have bought a two-door now that I got twins on the way. Or I should have bought a pickup truck because I need it for work. Or I should have whatever. I need to get a Prius because I need 50 miles a gallon. I want to buy an electric. There's all kinds of reasons people change their mind after they buy a car. And then they sit in front of the dealer a year later, and then they get shocked when the dealer says that $35,000 car is now worth $26,000. And people say, holy mackerel, that's a big loss. Well, you obviously didn't listen to the Frontier Motor Show, because what we specialize in at Frontier Motors is the alternative to new. We don't sell brand new cars. Even though I have cars that you might think are brand new, for example, a Mitsubishi Outlander, a 17 Outlander I've got on the lot. It's got 26 miles on it. That's pretty new, isn't it? But I have to sell it as used because we're not a Mitsubishi dealer. I've got 3 Nissan cargo vans, the small ones. The highest mileage one has 63 miles on it. That's pretty darn new, but we're not a Nissan dealership, so we're selling those as used. We have a Volkswagen Passat on the lot with 130 miles on it, a Nissan Altima with 300 miles, a Toyota Prius V, which is their big one, with 500 miles on it, a Dodge Charger with 700 miles on it, and the list goes on and on and on. We try to keep at least 150 cars on the lot that have less than 20,000 miles on it. And when you open the door, they smell like brand new. They're non-smoker vehicles. I pride myself in making sure that I have buyers that actually go to the auctions. We don't buy online. We go to the auctions, and we want to view the cars instead of on a TV. A lot of dealerships buy their cars online. They don't hire buyers anymore. What they do is they just look at them on the screen and they hit the buy button, and then 3 days later the car's on their lot. The problem is, what if it's a smoker's car? What if it stinks? What if you had a dog that, peed on the back seat? You ever try to get that out? There's a lot of things that can make a car smell, and you lose a deal really fast if the car doesn't smell very good. So we pride ourselves in making sure we hire buyers that are non-smokers, that have a nose for smell, so that when the car gets on the lot, it doesn't smell. We don't buy cars that are rated low that we have to recondition to the max. A lot of dealerships will buy cars that are below average condition. They do this on purpose. The reason they do this on purpose is for advertising price, so they can advertise a low price. Of course, you get into the dealership and you look at that low-priced car and you say, well, I'm not buying that car. That car's not a nice car. And they say, well, we've got another one right here. It's just like it. And it's a real nice one. But it's $4,000 more. At Frontier Motors, we only buy the cars that are rated a 10. Now, actually, it's kind of weird because the auction rates them from 0 to 5. So I'm talking about a 4.5 to a 5 is what we buy. And we pride ourselves also into making sure that when you come on the lot, that we price the vehicle in the middle of the pack. And what I mean by that is that when you Google a certain car, and let's just use the Mitsubishi Outlander, and you go within 150 miles, there might be 20 of these Outlanders for sale. And mine is not going to be the cheapest one. Mine is definitely not going to be the most expensive one. It's going to be right in the middle. But the pricing in the middle of the pack, what you get for that is you get a lower mileage vehicle in better condition, a lot of times with a better color. When I mean by better color, some people don't like the weird colors. You know, they might not like yellow or pink or purple. They might want a white one or a black one or a silver one. And even though when you buy the car brand new, the colors are the same price, when they're used, it makes a difference. For example, Lexus, a pearl white Lexus with tan leather interior will bring about $2,000 more than a dark blue one with black leather interior. And people say, well, why would that be? Well, because a lot of people don't want a dark blue car with black leather interior. So that's the difference, right, Don?
That is exactly the difference. Thank you for inquiring. And if you have an inquiry, maybe you'd like to get the price of a car, truck, or SUV you're thinking of buying or selling or trading in, you got about 20 minutes left to give us a call, 478-3116. This is the Frontier Motor Show here on News Talk 1370 WCOA. We would be pleased to hear from you. You'll have the opportunity to speak with Iven Streckel, again, 478-3116, as we continue here on News Talk 1370 WCOA.
A lot of times people ask me, when you appraise a car, how do you appraise it? What book do you use? You know, when you go online, you Google used car values for yourself. If you're thinking of selling your car, you're going to get a Kelley Blue book. You're going to get the Edmunds book. And you're also going to get an NADA guidebook. And I've got the NADA guidebook right here. But this is the guidebook that all of our bankers and credit unions and a lot of our insurance companies in Pensacola use. The problem is the particular one that they use is not available online. You've got to be a dealer or banker, credit union, insurance company to get this book. Well, we have these books readily available. So we do use the NADA guidebook, but that is not getting you a value. That is getting you a price that a banker would loan on a particular car. That's what the NADA does. It doesn't really tell you this is what the cars are going for. You actually have to have some car experience and know what cars are going for at the auction. And the reason that's very important is because if I know what I can buy a car for at the auction, I can also figure out, if I put a profit on that car, what that car should be selling for. Now, let's just say hypothetically that you have the NADA guidebook right here, and it tells you that a 2017 Chevy Impala has a retail book of $20,000. Now, that's the retail book. So that's what the banker's going to tell you. But I can look online and I can see that they're going for about $15,000 on the average at the auction. So if a customer would say, hey, Ivan, how much would a 2017 Impala cost me if I bought it from Frontier Motors? I'd say it would cost you somewhere between $17,000 and $18,000. Because if I can buy them for $15,000, I've got to pay the shipping, pay the auction, pay the buyer, do the reconditioning, change the oil, fill it up with gas, make sure it has 2 keys, make sure there's nothing wrong with the car, and then put a profit on it. So I would tell you that $15,000 car is going to cost you somewhere between $17,000 and $18,000. Let's just split the difference and say $17,500. Now the banker just booked it out for $20,000, but the banker doesn't do that next step. They don't go to the auction reports to find out what are they really selling for. What they're saying when they tell you $20,000, that's how much we'll loan. Sometimes the bankers go one step further and say, don't pay any more than that, which is ridiculous because if you were to pay that, you'd be paying way too much. And that's why you call Frontier Motors, even if you're going to buy somewhere else. I've got a sheet of paper here that comes out from the registrations in the motor vehicle department that says there's 105 used car dealerships in our area. That's just Escambia and Santa Rosa County. 21 new car dealerships. That's a lot of car dealerships. So we're smart enough to figure out that we don't sell every car in town. A lot of people go wherever the car is that they're looking for. Let's say you're looking for a 2011 or 12 Honda Civic and you find one at Joe Blow Motors down the road. Why would you call Frontier Motors? Well, you'd call us to run a Carfax on the car because we do that at no charge. A lot of dealerships do not provide you with Carfax reports, not so much because they're trying to hide something from you. It's because they don't want to pay for them because they're quite expensive. At Frontier Motors, because we're the largest dealer, we have a deal worked out with Carfax where I pay one fee. I can run as many as I want. And that's why I'm advertising on TV and the radio that if you're going to buy a car from a neighbor, on eBay, Craigslist, whatever, don't pay $40 for a Carfax report. Call Frontier Motors with the ID number, and I'm going to tell you if the Carfax report is good or bad. I'm also going to tell you what to pay for that car based on the reports that I get. I've got a computer system that I plug the ID number in and it gives me all the information on the car. Where it was from, how many times it's been serviced, has it been an accident, has it been flood damage? These are all the things that I can get off. And I run two different reports. I run the Carfax report and we also run the auto check. Most dealers do one or the other because they don't want to pay for all of them. Again, I've worked out a price where I pay one fee. I can run as many as I want, and I do that for the general public. And the reason we do this is, number one, to make sure you don't buy a bad car and not know about it. This happens all the time when I'm taking a trade-in. I'll take a trade and run around the block. We'll scan the ID number. When I get back after the test drive, I'll put it in a computer and I'll say, major accident reported, front-end collision, airbags deployed, had to be towed. Now, folks, when I appraise a car like that, let's say that's your car that you're driving right now and you bought it without knowing this. What does it do to the value of the car? I'm not saying that car can't be sold, but that car is going to be sold for thousands of dollars less based on its history. Would anybody out there go out and buy a lemon on purpose? Most people wouldn't, unless they get a really, really good deal. Would you go out and buy a car that you didn't know how many miles were on it? Probably not, unless you got a really, really good deal. So everything sells, but there's a value to that. And by the way, on that side note, if you get into an accident and your car's value has been compromised, go to Frontier Motors and we will give you a letter of diminished value. What that means is that if your car, now, by the way, that's only if it's not your fault. If it's your fault, they're not going to pay you to damage your own car. So if you run your car into a tree by accident, you're not going to get any diminished value because it was your fault. But let's say that somebody broadsides you today. They run a light, which it seems like a lot of people in Pensacola enjoy doing that because I see it on a daily basis. I just wish they would station police cruisers at almost every intersection in Pensacola because they could make a fortune because everybody's running these yellow/red lights. And sometimes what happens, there's an accident and it's not your fault. And you got a beautiful car that you just purchased. And now you come to Frontier Motors and we tell you, by the way, based on a major accident, your car's value, in my opinion, has now been compromised. Let's just use $3,000. So we give you that letter, we sign it, you go back to your insurance company, and almost all the time, they will go to the other person's insurance company and they will get money for diminished value. Now, this started about 5 or 6 years ago because Carfax reports started being wildly used. I mean, everybody knows Carfax because they advertise like crazy, which is great because really what they're saying is know what you're buying. They're not telling you not to buy something that's been an accident. They're just saying know that ahead of time. And if you know the vehicle's been in an accident, the first thing I would definitely suggest, if you still want the car and it's a good deal, is get the car inspected by a reputable body shop, probably not the same one that fixed it originally. Go to a different one, make sure the frame is right, make sure that everything's right on it. But at least you know, and that's one of the things that we do at Frontier Motors. So you're going to go buy the brand new car. We're going to appraise your car. We're going to tell you what to pay. Maybe while you're looking on our lot, I just checked this morning, 397 cars physically on the ground at Frontier Motors. About another 2 truckloads coming in. So we're almost maxed out. We've got about 410 cars available right now. That doesn't mean we won't buy your car. We're still advertising that we would rather buy a car from a private individual than buy one at the auction. I do have buyers that go to the auctions because that's where I can get these low mileage cars because there's very few people that are putting their cars for sale that are a half a year old with 20 miles on it. Usually what I'm buying off the private individual cars are maybe cars that are 5, 6, 7 years old. They might have 50,000 to 100,000 miles on them. As long as they're good condition, I would love to buy your car. A lot of people are doing the Dave Ramsey thing. And what he says is get out of debt. If you owe money on the car, and let's say you're not negative on the car, and you can live without that car, you bring it to Frontier Motors, and I'll just write you a check for it. You cancel the insurance, take off your tag, and you're done. So it's a really good way to liquidate without having to go to 20 different dealerships. Now, I did notice the other day I was at, where was I looking? I was looking at was it BMW? I can't remember. I was looking at an exotic lot in Pensacola, and I was checking out their inventory, and I found that the particular lot I was looking at had one pickup truck on the lot. The reason I'm bringing this up, folks, that trucks last year were 51% of the market. First time ever, by the way. Sedans have always outpaced trucks. Now, when they say trucks, they're throwing SUVs and pickup trucks into the mix. They call those trucks. So what I'm getting at is that trucks are very, very hot. But if you go to a dealer to buy a brand new car, and let's just use Lexus of Mobile as an example, and you're driving a pickup truck, don't expect to get a really good appraisal on that pickup truck, because there's nobody going to a Lexus dealership to look at trucks. So what they do is they sublet that vehicle. They call somebody and say, hey, I got this truck here. I need an appraisal. And the person that's on the other end of the phone is a wholesaler that's going to buy the truck from that dealership you're trading at, and they're going to sell it to someone else. And they take some of that money from the appraisal, and that's how they stay in business. And sometimes that can be as much as $1,000 to $1,500. That it could affect the appraisal. And that's why before you go to any of the dealers' Mobile to buy a car, you stop at Frontier Motors and get an appraisal. Because let's say I appraise your truck for $30,000 and you go over there and they appraise it for $27,000. What are you going to do? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to say, wait a minute. Frontier Motors said they pay $30,000 and I'm not even buying nothing from them. If you're going to spend $50,000 at a car dealership, shouldn't they give you more for your trade-in than I'm going to give you at Frontier Motors? I think so. At least $1,000 to $1,500 more is what I would ask. If I'm going to spend $50,000 with somebody, I'm going to say, hey, step up to the plate. I'm buying something from you. So now the $30,000 appraisal I'm giving you, they're giving you $27,000 for. As far as I'm concerned, they're $4,000 off because they should be giving you $31,000. Now, if you still want the car and they're playing hardball and say, I'm not paying you anymore, you can still trade the vehicle in at that dealer and I'll buy it right from the dealership. Now, they're going to have to bring it over to me, but I'll write them a check for it. We'll verify that, especially if it's here in Pensacola. Let's say you're going to one of the lots. Let's just say you're going to go to the BMW dealership. You can buy a brand new BMW. Why not stop at Frontier Motors? Let me appraise the car. And if you say, hey, Ivan, your appraisal is better than theirs, I'll just write you a check for it. You don't even have to trade it if you don't want to. Now, there's a little bit of a tax advantage if you trade. If you don't know how that works, I'll make it simple for you. If you have a $30,000 trade-in and you're buying a $30,000 Mini Cooper, for example, you pay zero taxes. Zero. Now, if you sell me the car, you're going to have to spend about $1,700, $1,800 in taxes. So that's how the dealerships trade. They talk you into trading because, well, you're going to save, I'm going to give you less money for it, but you're going to save a bunch of money in taxes. But you could get the best of both worlds. Why not use my higher appraisal and still trade it? Force them to give you the money, save the taxes, and I'll buy it right from them when you're done. Now, half the time I never get the car. What happens is that used car appraiser that's appraising that car low ends up having to step up to the plate, and he reappraises that car at the $30,000, and he ends up keeping it. Because what they're taught to do, you ever see these new car ads, $10,000 off? You ever see those? I see them all the time. Well, when they advertise that, you might be shocked that they're actually not making any money at that price. And you might say, well, how can they afford to sell a car and not make any money? Well, usually, number one, those cars are leftovers. They're not current model. If the 18s are out, those are 17 model leftovers they're just trying to get rid of so they can buy more 18s. They're not making any money on it. But the way they make money on that deal is they make money on the aftermarket stuff they sell you. They make money on the dock fee that they charge or the get-ready fee. And they undercut the trade-in. So they're going to give you $27,000 for a $30,000 car, and now they're going to pick up $3,000 because you're buying the car at close to cost. Well, you should get the best of both worlds. Get the higher appraisal and buy the car at a good price. So I'm not necessarily talking you out of buying brand new. 17.5 million people, a new record last year, bought brand new cars. And if somebody didn't buy that brand new car, I'd be out of business in a heartbeat because I got to have somebody buy the new one for me to get that car 6 months later, 10 months later, and buy it for $9,000 less. Maybe I mark it up $2,000 or $3,000, and you're still going to save $6,000 or $7,000. And that's what we specialize in. Now, because we have so many cars on the lot that are like new, we also get a lot of nice older trade-ins that have a lot of life left. People sometimes say, well, I don't know, you guys have no $5,000 or $10,000 cars. Well, yes, we do, because we take them in trade. We don't buy any of those cars at the auction, because at the auction they sell those cars as is. So if they have a bad air conditioner, bad transmission, bad motor, I'm stuck with it. So I don't buy old cars at the auction. I buy the newer ones at the auction's guarantee. But I buy the older ones from private individuals, or I take them in trade, because then I have the ability to get them inspected first. So I know what I'm getting. So I can put the proper money on that vehicle to make sure I can make a profit on it, but still beat the competition. So this whole thing goes around that when we talk about what do we do at Frontier Motors, even though we sell cars for a living, our whole claim to fame at Frontier Motors is making sure people get a really good deal when they're in the market, whether they buy from us or somewhere else. And the reason we do this, we've been doing this for 21 years, it works for us because 70% of our customers are repeat and referrals. That's unheard of in the used car industry. In the new car industry, not so much. A lot of people go back to the new car dealers over and over. If you like your Chevy, you buy it from Pete Moore, Sandy Sanson. Year after year, every 5 years you go buy a brand new car. You go back to that dealer because when you buy a brand new car, you're pretty much getting supposedly a perfect car. Not so much on a used car. People normally go wherever the car is. Well, at Frontier Motors, people come to us for a reason because they know they're going to get a good deal on a really good car. And if we don't have it, they say, hey, Ivan, can you get one of these for me? Because I'd rather buy it from you because you make it easy. And one of the things that we do, folks, go to a dealership that gives you an out-the-door figure, none of this back and forth garbage, one price, what is it going to cost me? What do I got to write the check for? And also a dealership that gives you a warranty. All of our vehicles that are 10 years old or under get a certified warranty. Now, what does that mean? That means if you're buying a 1-year-old car, I'm going to give you 9 more years of factory warranty, drivetrain warranty, engine, transmission, transactional on that car. Normally, you had to go to a new car dealership to get certified. We're the first independent used car dealership that can offer certification, which means a 10-year, 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty. So if you're buying a 5-year-old car with 50,000 miles on it, without paying any extra, you can get 5 more years up to 100,000 miles on the odometer. So that's another 50,000 miles. That's a pretty darn good deal, and it helps us compete with like Hyundai and Hyundai and Kia, by the way, have a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Well, so does Frontier Motors. If I've got a car that's 2 weeks old that we just happen to buy at the auction, you're going to get 10 years of warranty on that car, up to 100,000 miles. So give Frontier Motors a shot. We almost don't got about maybe 1 minute left. We want to let you know that we've got a great Facebook page, so like us on Facebook. This is also going to be aired on YouTube. If you Google Frontier Motors on YouTube or just search for us, you're going to see my ugly mug, and you can watch the show over and over until you get sick of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Auf Wiedersehen.
Deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay. Come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier. We got the right price. Frontier. We'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors. Low overhead country.